Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Everyone together. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama. And again, all together. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Everyone sing again a little bit louder, all together. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna and again, all together. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare loud as you can. With all your hearts. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama. Everyone sing again a little bit louder. Hare Krishna, again with all your hearts. Hare Bo. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, I'm really going to need you to dig a little deeper. This kind of melody requires a lot of heart. Our spiritual master Srila Prabhupada, he said that when one is chanting this mantra, one has to cry. Chant in the mood of a baby crying out for its mother. And this is what this melody is supposed to do. So we've got 2 more minutes. We can chant 2 more mantras together. And I really beg you to really just cry out with all your heart. Pour all of your prayers into these last 2 mantras. Okay, let's go. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. A little deeper, and again. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Thank you all so much. Thank you very much for coming. I wish you a wonderful day filled with peace and joy. And if I can challenge you to try and make somebody smile today. Anybody. Somebody that you don't know. Try and make them smile. All right. Hare Krishna.
You made us smile. everybody. Thank you. I was remembering my spiritual master coined a term for what we're doing, this sitting together and chanting, and he called it Nam Yagya. So Yagya means sacrifice, and classic sacrifice in the Vedas was a fire sacrifice, Agnihotra. They would build a fire, and it was a ritualistic performance. The fire was considered to be the mouth of Vishnu, right? And so grains and ghee and so many things were offered, made it as an offering, ritual offering to the Lord. So this is the Nam Yagya, the offering of the name to the Lord. And just like when we worship Ganges, what are we worshiping Ganges with? Ganges water, right? So Mother Ganga, we're just offering her water back to her. That's all we have, is what she's given us. We offer her water back to her. So in the same way, this sacrifice, this offering, you can say, is we're just offering the name back to the person who's non-different from the name. Krishna's there in his name, Radharani's there in his name. So Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur would, when he felt that there was some difficulty in his, in the temple or in the organization, he would organize these Nam Yagyas that lasted 72 hours. So 3 days, continuous chanting this Maha Mantra. And he felt that by doing this, if there was some difficulty or some misunderstanding or some problems in the mat, in the temple, that they would all be purified. That was his way of correcting difficulties in a spiritual institution. It happens sometimes, right? There's difficulties even in spiritual institutions. Once or twice that's happened in the past, right? So anyway, that was what he would do. And and by this continuous chanting, then it purifies the heart, and all inauspicious things flee. And I think we can practically experience that if we just sit and chant. Like in the evening here, where you can actually sit and chant for, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, like 4 hours if you want. You can sit and chant with us for 4 hours. It's extremely, it's powerful. It's very powerful and purifying. So Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur was asked one time, or there was a discussion, that what is the real benefit of this chanting? And some people were saying, well, it frees one from karma. That's the benefit. It frees us from our reactions to our bad deeds. And another person was saying, well, it grants moksha. It liberates us. And Haridas Thakur said, no, those are side benefits. Those are the side benefits. The real benefit is it awakens prema. It awakens the love within the heart. So that's ultimately our goal in this chanting and in our study and in our activities, is to awaken this love. Nitya Siddha Krishna Prem Sadhya Kabunai Shravanadi Sudachiti Karya Udai. Lord Chaitanya said that there's love for Krishna within our hearts. It's already there. We don't get it from anywhere else. It's not imported. It's already there within the heart. Nitya Siddha, it's there. Krishna Prema. Shravanade Sudachiti. But by this hearing and chanting, then it becomes awakened. So we're not actually looking for something outside of ourselves. We're looking to awaken what's already there. So this chanting is so, on so many different levels, right? On just purification, just, having a peaceful mind. Purifying our relationships between the people that we're with. So many different ways this chanting is so powerful. And we can know that ultimately it's guiding us, it's awakening that love there that's already in the heart. So thank you. The organizer of this event, Indraduna Swami, he always says that this is for you. We're here for you. Which is true, but we're also here for us. I sit in the Kirtan every night for 4 hours for me. I may be leading Kirtan, I may not be leading Kirtan. It doesn't matter, really. But I know that my heart is getting scrubbed. So, yeah, anyway, it's beneficial for everyone. So thank you for taking part in this Nam Yagya. Thank you so much. So we'll sing a little bit more. I guess. Thank you. I think so. Om Jnanatmarandasya Gananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhistam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Svayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Svapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuttapada Kamalam Shri Gurun Vaisnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatham Idam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Badam Sahagana Lalita Shri Rasakanvitamscha Hey Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandho Jagapate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostite Tapta Kanchana Gaurange Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Haripriye Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Vipasindubhyevacha Atitanam Bhavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prastaya Bhutale Shrimati Bhaktivedanta Swamine Dinamine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Sunyavadi Satyadi Shatadine Jaya Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaura Bhaktavinda Jaya Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaura Bhaktavinda Jaya Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaura Bhaktavinda. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare 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 Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare,
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hello. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Everybody please. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. One more time, hello. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Hare Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Please one more, brother. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare. One more. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. One more, please. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare
I wanted to ask, who was here last time? Could I get a raise of hands? Who was here? I know a few of you were here. You were here, right? Who was here last time I did this voice activation workshop? Just a few. Okay, so most of you weren't here. That's what I'm getting. Oh, great. So we can do the same thing. So much fun. Okay, wonderful. So, yeah, my name is Premanjali. I'm actually from Australia. Grew up in Australia in a very beautiful community, very similar to this environment that we have here in Rishikesh, where there was lots of Kirtan. There was a spiritual practice happening in the background of this whole community, still is. And I went to a very beautiful school there called a Gurukul. Has anyone ever heard of a Gurukul before? So I didn't live there like many people do in India. Sometimes you live at the Gurukul, but I was going there every day, and all my teachers were students of this bhakti tradition. And it was so wonderful. We used to start every day with Kirtan, and we got to learn a lot about the Vedic traditions and the Gita from a very young age. So I felt very blessed to have that experience. And I guess because of that and growing up in such a community, I've had a love for Kirtan since I was very little. I used to be that kid that everyone hated because I just wouldn't shut up. I was grabbing this school bus microphone on the way home and singing the Maha Mantra, and everyone was like, "Oh my God, here she goes again." And I just loved Kirtan. I loved singing, and actually it was funny. It didn't come so naturally to me. It was actually something that really took time. Oh, thank you. I remember being in, I must have been in year 2 or something, 7 years old. And we used to learn these beautiful bhajans as a part of our school. Our teacher was so wonderful. She was actually my first harmonium teacher, my first singing teacher, since I was maybe 5 to 7. And we used to learn these bhajans in school together. Beautiful bhajans, Jai Radhe, Jai Krishna, Jai Vrindavan. And then bhajans like this we used to sing as a school performance. And I remember she literally used to pull me out of the group and tell me I couldn't sing because I would just mess it up for everybody. And I was always just doing my own thing and couldn't follow along. And it was funny, and she came to me many years later and she was like, "I want you to know that, I know back in the day you struggled so much, but now you've really improved and I'm so proud of you." And I was like, "Thank you." So it does, singing like anything else, like Kirtan singing. Actually, our voice is a muscle, just like every other muscle in our body. And everyone can sing. Everyone has this wonderful ability to sing beautifully, actually. It's just a matter of confidence and a matter of maybe a little training. But very quickly you can find that we all have this voice. And I often like to talk about how actually our voices are so personal to us because it's very vulnerable actually when you sing in a way that actually all of us have a very unique voice, right? I mean, even these people who are famous impersonators who can train their voice to sound exactly like someone else, even then they're not going to be able to do what you can do. And the beautiful thing is that actually when we sing, we're really offering our heart. And we're offering everything inside of our heart. And singing is one of the only things that we really allows us to do that because there's really nothing else in between being able to allow us to sing. There's no instrument, there's no props needed, there's no external thing needed. It's just ourselves. And of course, because of that unique, beautiful voice that all of us have, it becomes very vulnerable. Because as soon as we open our voice and as soon as we're singing to a group of people, we're offering a piece of ourselves with a bit of us there. So it opens up this room for judgment or criticism or fear. And it's very common that we all have this. I kind of broke out of that from a young age. But for a lot of us, it's someone passes you the mic and it's oh my God, no way. Not me, I can't do it. And it's funny, because I feel like there are other things where we would have that confidence a lot easier. Not so much of a problem, but singing, usually there's this barrier. So we're going to try and break that down a little bit today, and we're going to talk a little bit more about what is Kirtan, why we love Kirtan so much, why we're doing it, and we're going to do some singing together as well, which is going to be fun. And hopefully just learn a little bit more about the voice and what it can offer. So who here has some singing experience already? Do we have any musicians in the group? Any classical singers? Oh, yes, Rajiv, you were mentioning this morning. Yourself as well, wonderful. So I actually studied in a few different environments, in a few different places. So as I mentioned, my first singing teacher was when I was a kid, and she was teaching me how to sing and play harmonium. So that was like Kirtan, which was really sweet. And I always was singing, but I kind of took a break when I was like, I don't know, 8, 9, 10. I just wasn't really focusing on it that much. I was just a kid and I was just crazy. But when I was like 11, my mom was like, no, you have to take singing classes, like, you know, and I was like, no. And she made me go, and I just loved it so much. So I ended up actually learning more of a classical contemporary style singing. My teacher was a jazz musician, really cool jazz musician, and she was teaching me jazz and pop songs, and you know, we would do gigs together, and I was really much more in the Western contemporary music world for a while. I used to play piano. And it wasn't until I was like 16 that I really just was like, oh my God, I just want to sing kirtans. Like, you know, I kind of had the history from when I was really young, but I was like, you know, like this is important, you know. I want to use my voice for something more. And it always like, I never felt so satisfied when I was just singing and performing, and, you know, you get paid, and it just wasn't enough for me. I was like, I didn't feel like it was connecting me enough. I felt like I was just using my voice all the time, but I wasn't able to express myself. I wasn't able to like give that part of myself that I was really lacking from not being engaged in kirtan as much. And of course, I was always attending kirtans. There was a beautiful Sunday kirtan in the community I lived, so I'd go every week. And I started to just become the little kid on the side where, you know, I kind of made myself known that I wanted to be there. So all the, like, you know, the big guys, you know, the guys that were amazing kirtaniyas already, they started to encourage me, and they, you know, they'd give me the mic now and again, and it really built my confidence up. And when I came to India in it wasn't really until 2018 when I finished school and I was able to come for a longer time to India. I was living in Vrindavan. Anyone here been to Vrindavan before? Anyone? Vrindavan, yes. Beautiful, right? Not so far from here, 5 hours, maybe drive, 5-6 hours drive. Beautiful place in Vrindavan. And I just made friends with this. Does anyone know the Radharaman temple in Vrindavan? Anyone heard of the Radharaman temple? Yes. So the Radharaman temple is very special. Beautiful, beautiful. One of the main temples in Vrindavan. And the thing that I fell so in love with at that temple is like this beautiful deity of Radharaman. Is a deity of Krishna, a small, beautiful deity of Krishna. And they have such a high standard of worship in this temple. Everything they do for Radharaman is like just so next level, like really so next level. And one of the things is that they have the most incredible musicians who are always singing for him and playing for him and doing bhajan and kirtan. And I used to go in the evenings because it was just so like mystical. I was so like captivated by this beautiful kirtan. And the bhajans they would sing for Radharaman were always in line with what he was doing in his day. So, you know, the bhog arti he's eating, and they would sing beautiful songs about what food he was eating. Or, you know, when he was going to bed, they had a beautiful lullaby for when he would go to sleep. And it was very particular, you know, the raga they would use and the time of day, and they'd make sure everything was very lined up. And it was such a wonderful experience. So I met this young boy who was actually only like 18, no, younger at the time, 17, 16. His name was Manas, and he was singing there almost every night. He lived right there at the temple. And he'd been singing since he was like 4 years old. You know, he was just like born and raised in this environment. He was a Goswami there at the temple. And we became friends, and eventually I convinced him to be my singing teacher because he was so humble. You know, he wouldn't teach me. He just thought he didn't know enough. He thought he couldn't teach. And eventually I was like, no, please, you're my favorite. Please teach me. I had such a deep desire to learn raga and classical singing and get into Hindustani music and just learn more about it. I wanted to get into this kirtan scene, you know. So I started taking lessons with him for a while, and that was really beautiful. That was kind of where I tapped into more of a classical Hindustani style of singing compared to my history in like jazz and pop and all of this. So I've kind of had a bit of a like circle of influence in my singing and in kirtan. And of course, you know, the kirtans we're doing here and the kirtans we will do today, it really is a bit of a fusion because it's not necessarily Hindustani classical music for anyone who's kind of tapped into that. It's not that we're necessarily like really, going so deep into the ragas or like all of this. And a lot of melodies are actually just simple chords even, and it's actually even sometimes closer to more of a Western song or Western environment. But it's a bit of a fusion. We've got the harmonium and we're singing kirtan, but we're not deeply in like the depths of the ragas. So there's always been a bit of a fusion there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to try and share some of my favorite tips and tricks and things that I've learned throughout all of that, and kind of just what works for me and what I feel like is very practical for us who just want to maybe sing and just be more involved with kirtan without having to do the full commitment of, I'm going to be a singer now and that's my life, which is kind of what it takes to get into classical music and a lot of that. So, that being said, we're going to sing a scale using sa, re, ga, ma, pa, dha, ni, sa. So this is like the Indian classical equivalent of do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do. And there's a whole history there behind it, but for today, we're just going to take it as it is. Sa, re, ga, ma, pa, dha, ni, sa. If you have your phone or a notepad, like I recommend if you write it down, it can kind of help just with the memory, but it's also fine. We'll get it. We'll get it all together. So what we're going to do is we're going to warm up our voices now. You guys have already been in kirtan a little bit, so our voices will be already naturally a little warm. But we're going to go through a sort of typical warm-up that I like to do in the mornings, or if I have time in the mornings, I'll go through this sort of a flow. So the first thing is always when you wake up in the morning, your voice is very relaxed because you've been asleep. So it's actually the best time to warm up your voice. It's the best time to start singing. And at this time, you'll notice you can actually sing much, much deeper and much lower than you would be able to at any other point in the day. It's kind of like mystical, like you can test it out, And this is what a lot of these classical singers in Vrindavan and anywhere really, what they do is they wake up in the morning and the first thing they do is they start singing very low, very, very low as you can sing actually. So that's what we're going to start with for now. So deep breath in, we're going to exhale first for sa, just like we did with om. Sa. Nice, beautiful. One more time, let's go for sa. Good, last time. One more sa, deep breath in. Sa. Beautiful, beautiful. So one of the first lessons I had with my teacher Manas when I was learning classical singing, he said, you could just listen to sa, easily just listen to sa for like half an hour. And then he said, and then just sing sa for 20, 30 minutes, just sit on sa. And then maybe go to your next note. I was like, what? I don't have time for that. That's crazy. And he was like, no, actually, it's powerful because just like any other instrument, we're trying to tune our voice. And singing sa like we did just then is in one sense easy. We all just did it. But if you take, sometimes I actually have these apps, or you can just ask, you see these singers, they're so expert, they can just hear it immediately. But you can get these apps where you sing, then you try and sing the note. Just like, when you tune a guitar or something and you're trying to find the perfect pitch and you're tuning it back and forth. So there's these apps where you can sing to it and it'll show you how off key you are. And it's super confronting. You think what? I can't even sing sa. And you see how back and forth your voice is going. So actually, beautifully, we can actually just sing sa. Sometimes just listening to sa, putting a tanpura. I love using a tanpura. It's like a drone sound, the tanpura. And just listening to that sa, that root note, and training our voice to hear and recognize that and be able to hit the note clearly and beautifully. It's the start of everything. Just like in dance, you have your basic steps. In music, you have your first scales. In singing, you have your first sa, your sa, re, ga. So let's sing sa one more time, and we're going to go lower. Deep breath in. Sa. good, very good. Dha. Pa. Ma. Pa. Let's stay on pa. And here on pa, really try and relax your throat. Don't be afraid to make it's like a dopey sound almost, like you've just woken up. Pa. Don't be afraid to open your mouth. Okay? Pa. It's all about relaxing your throat, soothing. You're actually massaging your vocal cords by going lower. Pa. Good. Dha. Ni. Sa. Beautiful. So now we're going to do some call and response. If the sa re ga gets a little confusing, you can always sing on ah. That's always an option. But we're going to do a little call and response now and work slowly up into our higher notes. Slowly, slowly. Ni re sa. Beautiful. Let's try a little bit faster this time on sa re ga. And sa re ga ma pa da ni sa sa ni da pa ma ga re sa. Oh. Okay, we're going to take a break in between. Yeah, I love how ambitious you guys are. We're going to take a break in between. So take a deep breath in. And sa re ga ma pa da ni sa sa ni da pa ma ga re sa. And sa re ga ma pa da ni sa sa ni da pa ma ga re sa. For an ah. And ah. Good. And ah. One more time. And ah. Beautiful. Third speed. Sa re ga ma pa da ni sa sa ni da pa ma ga re sa. Let's try. If it's too much, you can sing on ah, okay? And sa re ga ma pa da ni sa sa ni da pa ma ga re sa. Good, very good. And again. And sa re ga ma pa da ni sa sa ni da pa ma ga re sa. And sa re ga ma pa da ni sa sa ni da pa ma ga re sa. On ah. And ah. And and beautiful. Now what we're going to do is we're going to do some breath control. So we're going to take a deep breath in. We're going to sing this scale in this speed up and down 2 times, okay, in one breath. It's easy. You guys got this. Deep breath in. Sa re ga ma pa da ni sa sa ni da pa ma ga re sa. Sa re ga ma pa da ni sa sa ni da pa ma ga re sa. Nice. Easy, right? Not too difficult. Let's try 3 times. Okay, deep breath in 3 times, up and down this speed. One breath. Sa re ga ma pa da ni sa sa ni da pa ma ga re sa. Sa re ga ma pa da ni sa sa ni da pa ma ga re sa. Sa re ga ma pa da ni sa sa ni da pa ma ga re sa. Woo! Let's try on ah 1 time, 3 times, yeah? क्या बात है सा everybody. Sa. Ni re sa. Beautiful. So this was just 10 minutes, quick vocal warm-up. Something, this sort of a flow, you can actually extend it much, much longer. But usually to start, we want to start with who remembers what we start with? Start with sa, actually, you're right. Yes, we start with sa. But we start with our low notes. That's what I was going to say. We start with our low notes. Then we work our way up very slowly to our high sa. Sometimes you might not want to get to high sa. That's fine. Some mornings you might just get to pa, and you're like, that's me today. And the thing is, we never want to strain our voice. We really don't want to you can work your voice, you can have a voice workout, but you don't want to be putting unnecessary strain on your voice. If you're trying to sing that high sa and you ain't feeling it, you're going to damage your voice. It's actually the opposite. Just like if you go to the gym and you start lifting heavy weights and you're not ready for it, you're going to hurt your muscles. So, yes, and then you can run the scale a few times. That's very good. Running the scale is very good. And if we had more time, you can get more into the different melodies. Sa de ga de ga ma ba. Sa de ga ma ba. So there's many different exercises we can do. But the scale is fine. The scale is actually all you need. So what we're going to do now is we're going to learn a beautiful bhajan. And this bhajan comes with a beautiful story, one of my favorite stories. So I call this mantra we're going to learn the Draupadi mantra. Who here knows who Draupadi is? Anybody know the name Draupadi? Nice, very nice. Few of you. Who is Draupadi? Yes, that's true. That is very true. But she's more than that. She's the wife of the Pandavas. So all 5 of the Pandava brothers, yes. So Draupadi, a beautiful, beautiful princess. In ancient times, it's a true story. Very beautiful. You can read about it in the Mahabharata. Anyone heard the Mahabharata before? The great epic, the Mahabharata. So a beautiful epic history of this Gaudiya Vaishnava tradition and the roots of, Krishna was on earth and the amazing feats that were happening. So Draupadi, she was a beautiful princess. And she was actually married to these 5 great kings. They were brothers, 5 brothers. They were known as the Pandavas. And even then, in those days, it was very uncommon, actually, for a woman to have more than one husband. Sometimes back then, kings, they would have many wives. It was, this happened. But for a woman to have more than one husband was very uncommon. She was probably the only one. And her husbands were wonderful, virtuous people. They were actually the kings of the whole world at the time. And they really fought for the side of good. They fought for protecting the world. Everyone loved them. And they had these cousins, these rival cousins, and their names were the Kauravas. The Kauravas. And the Kauravas hated the Pandavas because the Pandavas had the right to the throne. And they constantly were trying to find some way to kill the Pandavas so that they would be the kings of the world, the righteous rulers of the world. But the Kauravas were full of deceit, lies, hatred. And they didn't have this spirit of fairness and care and love like the Pandavas did. So it was a constant battle. And one day, the oldest brother of the Pandavas, his name was Yudhisthira. And these Kaurava brothers, they challenged him. They said, come for this dice match. So a dice match, a gambling match. And because they were great warriors, they were like great kings, warriors, there was a very strict code. There's the codes of the warriors. And they were so righteous, they stuck by this. And usually gambling is something they would never do. It was considered an unvirtuous thing. But in this circumstance, they felt they had to accept it as a battle, as a challenge. And for a warrior to walk away from a battle was like worse than death, so they had to accept this challenge. Little did they know that these Kaurava brothers had rigged the dice, and they were destined to win. There was no chance the Pandavas could win right from the beginning. So the game begins, and there's a huge arena with hundreds and thousands. You can imagine these are the kings of the whole world at the time. The Pandavas going to have a dice match with their evil cousins, the Kauravas. It was intense. It was very intense. And they've got this big, Colosseum vibes, like this huge arena with thousands of people watching, all watching this dice match. And time after time after time, the Pandavas are losing. And Yudhishthira is becoming anxious. Arjuna is becoming anxious. They're thinking, what are we going to do? First, they're gambling away maybe their gold, their jewels. Then they start to gamble away smaller kingdoms. And it gets to a point where they're gambling away whole kingdoms. And it's getting to a point they're thinking, what are we going to do next? We're running out of things we're losing. We're losing everything. And Draupadi's there on the side watching, and she's thinking, oh my God, Krishna, how is this happening? How is it that we're losing every single time, What are the odds? But it wasn't a matter of odds, it was a matter of unfairness. The cheating was in play. So it got to a point where Yudhishthira had nothing left to gamble. So he started to gamble away his own brothers. So first, Nakula, Sahadev, the youngest of the Pandavas, they were gambled away. They became the property of the Kauravas. And then Bhima, the mighty Bhima, the Pandava Bhima, he's gambled away. They're losing everything, even each other. And then Arjuna, the greatest warrior, Arjuna, the bowman, the greatest archer in the world, he could shoot unlimited arrows at a time. He could create a fort, a wall of arrows. And he's lost to the Kauravas. And Yudhishthira's left with himself and with Draupadi. And right before gambling away his very own self, his last thing was Draupadi, and he gambled Draupadi away. So can you imagine Draupadi being a princess, having 5 husbands, a life where everything was taken care of for her? A life where she had 5 amazing husbands who was always looking after her. She was protected, she was cared for, she had wealth, she had beauty, she had everything. But in this moment, everything was stripped away from her. And the Kauravas, being so evil-minded, they really wanted to humiliate the Pandavas even further. And even more, they wanted to humiliate Draupadi. So what they did is they dragged her out into the middle of the assembly. And she was wearing a sari, just like I'm wearing now, just like many of you are wearing so beautifully, these saris, this long cloth. And for a woman to be derobed or undressed in public is much worse. It was the worst thing that could happen. In these days, women, they never dressed, they never showed their bodies. They were very chaste. And they start to try and undress Draupadi in this public assembly. And she's looking at her husbands who are just there, and she's thinking, please help me. What is going on? Some of you, just get up, someone help me. And no one can help her. They were lost. They were not even able to get up and help their own wife. And in this moment, everything was stripped away from her. Everything was gone. Everyone who was always able to help her and support her wasn't able to be there for her anymore. And she raised one hand in the air and she said, Krishna, please. You're the only one that can help me in this circumstance. I know you're the only one who can save me. And she was using one hand to hold onto her sari, and with one hand she had her hand in the air and she said, Krishna, please help me. Please save me from this embarrassing situation. I can't. What's the point of living anymore? And then eventually she put both her hands in the air and she called out, Shri Krishna Govinda Hare Murari He Nath Narayana Vasudeva. And she called out this beautiful mantra, Shri Krishna Govinda Hare Murari He Nath Narayana Vasudeva. And she called out with both her hands in the air, Krishna, please. He Nath Narayana Vasudeva. He Nath Narayana Yana Vasudeva. And what did Krishna do? Krishna, our divine best friend, who's always looking out for us, always watching over us, always protecting us, immediately came to the rescue. When she cried out with both her hands in the air and she surrendered everything to him, what's he going to do? He can't ignore her. He loves her. And he sent this unlimitedly long sari. Can you imagine? So the Kauravas are there and they're pulling her sari and they're tugging and they're these strong prince warriors and no matter how hard they pull and no matter how long they pull, her sari was unlimitedly long. And eventually there's this huge pile of cloth and they give up and they think, okay, there's something here, there's some greater power at work, this is impossible. And then the story continues and Vidura is one of my favorite characters in the story. He's technically on the Kaurava's side, but he's so pious. And he's saying, you fools, you've publicly humiliated a woman. This is worse. This is the greatest offense. You have to give her a wish. So she gets a wish, and she wishes to have her husband's back. And the story continues. They go off together, and there's a beautiful, you can read it in the Mahabharata. They might even have it for sale here at the bookstore. Beautiful story. But this moment where Draupadi has to surrender completely, I think we can all relate to. Am I right? Where sometimes in our life, we have to give up everything. Hare Murari. Hare Murari. Murari, beautiful name of Krishna. Hare Murari. Shri Krishna Govinda. All together. Shri Krishna Govinda. Hare Murari. Hare Murari. He Natha Narayana. He Natha Narai. He Natha Narai. Narayana, sir. Narayana. Vasudeva. Vasudeva. He Natha Narai. Yana Vasudeva. All together. He Natha Narai. Yana Vasudeva. He Natha Narayana Vasudeva. He Natha Narai. Yana Vasudeva. Shri Krishna Govinda. Hare Murari. All together. Shri Krishna Govinda. Hare Murari. He Natha Narai. Yana Vasudeva. He Natha Narai. Yana Vasudeva. He Natha Narayana Vasudeva. Shri Krishna Govinda. Hare Murari. He Natha Narayana Vasudeva. So now what we're going to do is we're all going to clap. Can you all clap for me? Nice. Shri Krishna Govinda Hare Murari. Your turn. Shri Krishna Govinda Hare Murari. Your turn. Shri Krishna Govinda Hare Murari. Your turn. He Nath Narayana Vasudeva. He Nath Narayana Vasudeva. He Nath Narayana Vasudeva. He Nath Narayana Vasudeva. All together. He Nath Narayana Vasudeva. He Nath Narayana Vasudeva. He Nath Narayana Vasudeva. He Nath Narayana Vasudeva. Shri Krishna Govinda Hare Murari. Shri Krishna Govinda Hare Murari. Krishna Govinda Hare Murari. Shri Krishna Govinda Hare Murari. Shri Krishna Govinda Hare Murari. Hare Murari. Nice. Woo! Wow, you're all such beautiful singers. You're all such very beautiful singers. And I hope that this workshop has helped you find your voice a little more, maybe find some more connection to singing and the power of Kirtan and the power of these mantras. It's really something that's really transformed and changed my life. And I feel like sharing that with people is just my favorite thing to do. So I'm very grateful you're all here today. So much fun to sing with you all. And if any of you would like to learn more about Kirtan or how to play this melody on harmonium or many other melodies and more about vocal warm-ups and all of that, you can come and see me. I actually have some online courses and I take a few students and something like that for people who would like to learn more. So that's an option. Otherwise, I hope to see you again here. We have Kirtan again in the evening tonight from 4:45 into the evening. It's going to be lots of fun, lots and lots of fun. Actually, we have a very special guest coming tonight. He's only with us for 5 days. His name is Sri Prahlad, And he's an incredible Kirtaniya. Yet you're yet to experience him at Rishikesh Kirtan Fest. Today will be his first day, and he's only here for 5 days. So take advantage. Come in the evenings and the mornings, and we're here for all of you. So thank you so much. I hope to see you again soon. Hare Krishna.